unprecedented series of atmospheric rivers has replenished most of California's reservoirs, dumping record amounts of rain and snow and busting a severe 3-year drought. Some reservoirs are so full that water is now being released to make room for storm runoff and melting snow that could cause flooding this spring and summer. Here's a report for more details. 11 of California's 17 major reservoirs are now above their historic averages following 3 years of drought that drained them to dangerously low levels. Reservoir levels are now 7% above average, according to the California Department of Water Resources. Lake Oroville, the state's second largest reservoir after Lake Shasta, is about 16% above its historic average. This after a period when water levels had dropped so low that its hydroelectric dams stopped generating power. Managers are now releasing water from the Oroville Dam spillway, which was rebuilt after it broke apart during heavy rain in February 2017 and forced the evacuation of more than 180,000 people downstream along the Feather River.
So a lot of reservoirs, we had more snowpack in the central and southern part of the Sierra. So all of those reservoirs are releasing into the streams. They are full. They are making releases to accommodate additional snowmelt that will be coming in. Even in the northern part of the state, Lake Oroville, which is a big reservoir, started making releases to allow for incoming inflows and snowmelt over time. So our reservoirs are looking really good.
Last year, nearly all of California was in drought, including at extreme and exceptional levels. Wells were running dry, farmers were fallowing fields, and cities were restricting residential water usage. But the water picture has changed dramatically since. Over the past few months, when California was battered by a dozen atmospheric rivers that caused widespread flooding, damaged homes, infrastructure, and dumped as much as 700 inches of snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains.
California went from the 3 driest years on record to the 3 wettest weeks on record when we were catapulted into our rainy season in January of this year. So hydrologically, California is no longer in a drought except for very small portions of the state near the northern part of the state, which just really missed this long line of storms.
The abundant precipitation has prompted California government to lift some of the state's water restrictions and stop asking people to voluntarily reduce their water usage by 15%. However, the government has not declared the drought over because there are still water shortages near the California-Oregon border and parts of Southern California that rely on the struggling Colorado River. Cities and irrigation districts that provide water to farms will receive a big boost in water supplies from the Central Valley Project, a network of reservoirs and canals that supply water across California. Some farmers are using the storm water to replenish underground aquifers that had become depleted after years of pumping and drought left wells dry. The storms have created a record snowpack in the Sierra Nevada mountains. According to state data, the snowpack's water content is 236% of its normal average and nearly triple in the southern Sierra. Now, as the weather warms up, water managers are preparing for that snowpack to melt, unleashing a torrent of water that's expected to cause flooding in the Sierra foothills and Central Valley.
Well, we know there will be flooding as a result of this snowmelt. There's just too much snowmelt to be accommodated in our rivers and channels and keeping things between levees.
Although the state officials continue to warn residents not to let the current abundance of water let them revert to wasting water, in the era of climate change, one extremely wet year could be followed by several dry years, returning the state to drought. Bureau Report WION, World is One. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.